Welcome, everyone. Just doing some quick mental math. We're going to wait about a minute to let people start slowly triculate in. Matriculate in.
Show up.
Show up. Yeah.
We're at global headquarters of Prairie Sky Financial. It's global headquarters.
Global. At least, Prairie Sky, we call Prairie Sky West. And then you, in what, just 2 months, you're Prairie Sky way west.
Yeah, I like that. Then maybe we do Hawaii, and it's way west.
Let's jump on in. We've got somewhere around 25, 26 of our closest friends that are joining us. Thank you for joining us for our November town hall. We are really excited that you're here. We appreciate you taking some time out of your day to join us. So my name is Elliot Vaughn, for those of you that don't know me.
I'm Michael Casson. Elliot is a junior partner, and the senior partner always has more gray hair. So that's who I
am. Joining us as well is Ben Storm and Jennifer Sapp as part of our dedicated team. Before we jump on into some of our news and updates, we have to share some quick disclosure. So I'm going to put it on our screen. For those of you that are calling in, we will do our absolute best to try and talk through some of the graphs, some of the charts, some of the analysis that we're going to go through. So that way, there really is not a necessity for you to join, on the computer. However, it is usually a little bit more beneficial to be joining via the computer, via a tablet or what have you. So I'm going to share our screen real quick. This investment advice is offered through Prairie Sky Financial Group, a registered investment advisor and a separate entity from LPL Financial. The big key here is this material is intended to provide general financial education. It is not written or intended as tax or legal advice. Please do not take what you're going to be, what we're going to be talking about today and run out, change things within your portfolio, within your tax plan, estate plan, anything of that nature. So if you have any questions on these disclosures, please feel free to reach out and ask us. With that in mind, we're first going to jump over to Jen. Jen is going to walk us through a couple quick changes on statements for, I think, what we're already experiencing already, right, Jen?
Yes. LPL recently made 2 changes to statements. The first change is they will now be sending out the statements quarterly. So they will send out for September, December, March, and June. This can be changed back to monthly if you prefer to get the statements monthly. You just need to either call into the office or email us and let us know that you would like it switched, and we can take care of that. The second change is how the statements look. They have streamlined and improved how the summary is presented on the statement. All the information is still provided. It just might look a little different. If you want to go over any of the changes or if you have any questions, feel free to call into the office or email us and we can go through it with you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jen. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. As Jen mentioned, we're always here to help. Another quick couple of housekeeping items. We want to make sure that we have ample time to be able to get any kind of end of the year tax planning items done before, again, the end of the year. So if you are on pace or you are desiring to have a Roth conversion done or any kind of end of the year distribution that needs to be out before December 31st, our firm and our office is putting in a rough deadline of December 4th, which is a little less than a month away from that, to be able to get those items in. That way, we have ample time to be able to make sure it's processed and in its desired account or in its desired location well before the 12/31 deadline. We've had too many instances in the past, unfortunately, of having to rush and especially around Christmas time, it gets a little hectic. So please December 4th. That is our deadline to try and get Roth conversions. As a quick reminder as well, we'll be sending out our quarterly newsletters and tax letters after the new tax year. I'll be reminding everyone of this during our February town hall, but we will be asking you for your tax return in May of 2024. As part of our process as your financial advisory team, we go through a 37-point checklist when evaluating tax planning opportunities. Mike, how's that compare to Jiffy Lube these days?
You know, that's even more than Jiffy Lube does. However, we do not change oil filters. We will not replenish your windshield wiper fluid, and no air in your tires from this office.
Lastly, we want to have a quick reminder. We cannot text from our personal devices. If you would like to text us, you can text our office at 847-512-8820. Anytime business needs to be discussed, the text line has to be going through our office. That is monitored. So please, anything, if you have questions on your accounts and you want to text us, please text that number. Lastly, I think that's actually it as far as housekeeping items. Last item, please bookmark www.prairieskyfg.com on your phone, on your laptop, on your iPad, everywhere. In the next couple of days, we'll be updating our website. It's going to have a lot more tools, videos, resources. We'll be recording our town halls and publishing them on our website. This will only be accessible for our clients after the event. So please make sure that you're keeping your eye out on that. On that note, let's dive into some market news. As a quick reminder for everyone, the slides that we're about to go through are provided to the general public through JP Morgan. If you Google JP Morgan Guide to the Market, it's the first link. JP Morgan provides a downloadable PDF, and this is exactly what we're going to be going through today. They update it quarterly, and we feel that these are some good highlights that are important to review. So I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to first start off on page 16 of the guide. Again, there's no necessity for anyone to have to join via the computer. If you called in, that's just okay. That's just fine. We'll be walking through this verbally as well. The first page that we're going to go through, though, is the GDP and economic growth that we have seen since 2000. This page represents, again, the trend growth, which we have seen somewhere around a 2% trend growth within our economy and the GDP since 2000. This year, we are on pace to have around a 4.4% GDP growth for 2023. This is obviously good news. It shows that we are continuing to grow. And Mike and I and the rest of our team, we believe that we have a fair amount of runway within our economy for the continued future as well. So I'm now going to turn to page 18 of the guide. Oh, what happened here? There we go. This is cyclical sectors. These four graphs represent four very cyclical sectors in our economy. And they're also good indicators, perhaps, of bubbles of sorts. The first graph is residential investment. Can you hit volume on the side of the TV just so that the screen doesn't turn off? I think our TV screen that we're using is on a timer. So the first graph that we see up at the top left corner of the guide is residential investment. And this is how much people are spending on constructing or buying new homes. The second graph is business fixed investments. This represents spending by businesses to increase production capacity. So think businesses spending on new equipment, machines, computers, things of that nature. The third graph is light vehicle sales, and this is just how much people are spending on autos and light trucks. And then the last graph is total business inventory. This is representative of how much inventory businesses are carrying, which are usually manufacturers, wholesalers, and or retailers. Now, the reason why we like these graphs is it illustrates, again, if we have a booming economy or we may be in a bubble. To lay some context to what we see, when we see times of recession, think 2008, these graphs usually will skew drastically one way or the other. But when we're looking at these graphs, that's really not the case. Now, there is a chance we see some kind of recession in the next 8 to 24 months. And when we hear the word recession, we automatically think 2008. But without a booming economy, it would almost feel like if we did see a recession, it would feel more like falling out of a basement window. There would be maybe some discomfort, but it would be manageable. Now, I'm going to turn now to page 15 of the guide, and this is Mike's favorite graph, so I'm going to let Mike take this one away.
It's my favorite graph because I'm one of the few people that's been around since this graph was started back in 1980. I came into this business in actually 1975, but what this represents is the years that the market was up versus the years that the market was down. And historically, and we're going back 43 years, back to 1980, the market was down 3, 6, 10 times. The market was up 32 times. That means the market is up over 70% of the time. And if we look back to the recession that Elliot just referred to, that's 2008, the market ended up being down 38% since that day. And if I were to add up the 5 years that the market was down, that adds up to 65%. So since 2008, the market was down 6 years, I say 6 years, 5 years, a total of 65%. The market was up 9 years, a total of, get your pencils out, 474%. Now, we don't know which years the market is going to be up or down. What we do know historically, it's going to be up 70% of the time. Past performance is no guarantee of the future, but the odds are in our favor. And if you looked at this scale again, the market has only been down once in that 43 years in consecutive years. That was back a quarter of a century, back in 2000, when the market was down 3 years consecutively. Since then, and over the 43 years, the market has never had consecutive years of negative returns. So that's what gives us the confidence that the market is still robust. In fact, year to date, we just figured out the market was up for the last 8 days straight. The market's been up since the first of the year, 14.73%. Thank you, Elliot, for that performance.
I think that, and this will be something we touch on again later in this call, I think that this resembles, a few different things that we touch on regularly, and that's there's always going to be some disconcerting news out there, but historically speaking, staying the course has been extremely beneficial. Is that fair to say, Mike?
Fair to say.
So with that, I'm going to now turn to page 25 of the guide. This is, I think, where we kind of are getting more into the aspects of why we are still, I guess, we have a positive outlook of what the future is going to hold. The latest job numbers came out, and as of July 2023, we have 8.8 million job openings, within our broad economy. Now, this is below our all-time highs, which is March of 2022. But when we look back to when we started keeping track of these measurements, which was 1973, we see that we're still extremely high as far as how many job openings are available today. We combine that with, I'm now going to turn to page 28 of the guide, inflation. And inflation has been a hot button item for a number of months. We started seeing peak inflation in December of 2021. It jumped all the way up to 9%. Now, to curb inflation, the Federal Reserve and Uncle Sam have started to increase interest rates, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But we've been able to get inflation down from 9% down to, as of August 2023, the inflation number has been 3.7%. So this is well below, not well below, but it is below the 50-year average of 3.9%. This to us is, again, a good indicator. It shows us that we have some perhaps runway before we start seeing any kind of drastic volatility. Now, in order to get inflation down, we've had to, and by we, I mean the Federal Reserve and Uncle Sam have had to increase interest rates. But what does that actually entail? I'm turning to page 33 of the guide. This graph represents the Fed funds rate, or interest rates. When I say interest rates or the Fed fund rates, I want you to think of the lending costs. The Fed fund rate simply is a measurement or a percentage that the Federal Reserve mandates banks charge one another, from one bank to another, to borrow money from each other. That means that it is more expensive for banks to lend out to consumers or individuals, businesses, etc. That slows a really robust economy, and that's really what was necessary in order to get inflation under control. As you can see, historically speaking, we take, the old phrase is, we take the elevator down, but we take the escalator up. If you look starting back from 2015 all the way through 2019, we took, it kind of looks like a set of stairs. We took interest rates up to about 2.5% before COVID hit. Now, we don't know what the future has in store for us. That being said, there are some analysis and expectations that between now and 2025, if you see down here at the bottom, we're going to see interest rates go down. And if interest rates go down, this may represent some opportunities within your portfolio. And Mike and I are going to discuss that. I'm going to turn now to page 35 of the guide. And on the graph on the right, you're going to see a title that says Impact of a 1% Rise or Fall in Interest Rates. And Mike, what do you glean from that when you see that chart?
Well, it looks like it could go either way. The market is sort of finicky now in the bond market. Actually, the bond market is much more volatile and much more active than the stock market. That's where the treasuries, that's where the bonds are traded institutionally on a huge sale, and on a minor basis, they do it with individuals. What we're going to be looking at over the next couple of months is, are interest rates, is the Fed going to dampen the interest rates, bring them down because the market looks healthy, or is it going to raise them again because inflation is still flickering out there? We do know that when interest rates go up, the value of your bonds goes down. And just to use a quick analogy, if you bought $100,000 worth of 3-year treasuries 3 years ago, you were lucky to get 3%. Well, today you can get 5% in a money market or in a CD. So your 3% bonds have lost value. We see this as an opportunity to perhaps gather some CD rates for your portfolio and look at bonds on a case-by-case scenario. We'll be paying more attention to this when we go into your first quarter reviews, and we hopefully will have a clear understanding of where the Fed's going to go. And there's an adage that we find in our industry, and that is, don't fight the Fed. Go ahead, Elliot.
Love it. Yeah, it sounds like at some point when we feel comfortable that perhaps the Fed has been settling on no more interest rate hikes, that there may be some opportunities as resembled in this graph, whether that be corporate bonds, treasury bonds, long-term treasury bonds, what have you. As historically speaking, some of them have eclipsed, 8, 9, 10, 11%. So we'll be extremely diligent in evaluating this as the next couple of months and quarters unfold. With that in mind, I think that we also then want to speak to, and I'm going to turn to one of our other favorite slides, reinstilling our long-term thought or our long-term investment philosophy, and that is stay invested, stay the course. This graph represents intra-year or volatility of returns dating back from 1950 to 2022. And the worst one-year return that stocks have seen, market was down 39%. That was in 2008. But when we're looking at long-term 20-year rolling returns, and what does that mean? That means that in between 1950 and 2022, there hasn't been a period at any 20-year period that the market's been negative. And we think that that's a positive, and that speaks to, again, staying the course. The average return over 20-year period is 11.1%. So we think that again, when we look at the events that have taken place from 1950 to 2022, the Cold War, the Gulf War, Vietnam, presidential assassination, different kind of administration changes, geopolitical events, etc. We think that, again, staying the course has been time-tested and true. Now, as Mike mentioned, past results do not guarantee future success, but I like the old adage, history tends to rhyme. So these will be different aspects that we will continue to cover in your reviews. Mike, is there anything you want to add to that?
I'm bullish on the fourth quarter of this year because historically, the fourth quarter of any calendar year happens to be the most robust. There's an 80% chance that the fourth quarter of 2023 will be the most robust of all the quarters in this year. Again, past performance does not guarantee that it's going to happen, but people in the fourth quarter are going out to dinner, buying Christmas presents, spending money on their children, grandchildren. And if it's anything like the crowd that I see over here at Oak Brook Shopping Center, you can't find a parking place on a Tuesday afternoon.
Love it. Anything from Warren Buffett or his first lieutenant?
Yeah. I was just reading this the other day. Charlie Munger, who is Warren Buffett's partner and has been for, I think, 40, 50, or 60 years, is 99 years old. And he was asked by a reporter, what do you think about the future? Are you, enthusiastic about the stock market? He goes, I think there's great opportunity in the stock market. I'm 99 years old and I'm half dead. So I'm a fan of Charlie Munger.
Well, love it. I think that, again, that speaks to, our long-term investment philosophy. With that, we do want to thank you for your time. We hope that this second installment of the Mike and Elliot show is valuable, is worth your time, and continues to be a resource for you in the future. The next town hall we have will be in February. Our goal with these town halls is, again, to provide timely updates about the market, about LPL, about our firm, but in a short and concise manner. Again, something that we've been able to knock out in 25 minutes. So with that in mind, we want to thank you for the continued vote of confidence. We hope that you enjoy the holiday season that is fast approaching. And if we don't talk to you in the next few weeks, have a safe and happy holidays.
And by the way, that Buckus jersey behind Jen is not for sale.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.